This is question 10 on chemistry from section 2 of the 2019 BMAT. So we're told to consider the non-radioactive group 1 elements, and we're asked which of these three statements are correct about the element with the highest atomic number. So firstly, it reacts the most vigorously with cold water. Secondly, it has the same number of electrons in its highest occupied level as the others. And finally, it is the most easily oxidized. So firstly, what are the non-radioactive group 1 elements? Basically, non-radioactive means it's the ones that we're familiar with. So we have hydrogen. If you can consider it as being a group 1, it's not always considered as a group 1 element. Then the regular alkali metals, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, and cesium. Don't need to know this for the question, it's just useful to have this visual aid. And these statements are about the element with the highest atomic number. And which one is that? We know atomic number is the number of protons, which of course increases down the group, and therefore cesium is the group 1 element with the highest atomic number. So moving to our statements, does cesium react the most vigorously with cold water of all of the group? Well, let's think about what the reaction is. Firstly, we know that for alkali metals, they react with water to produce the metal hydroxide as well as hydrogen gas. And how does the vigorousness of this reaction change as we move down the group? Well, we know there's a general increase in the reactivity, starting with a gentle fizz of hydrogen gas at lithium, potassium catching fire in this reaction, and we might not know this, but extrapolating this trend, cesium actually explodes on contact with water. And therefore we can indeed confirm that cesium reacts the most vigorously with cold water. Of course, if we didn't know the question was about cesium, we could have just considered how this trend changes down the group. So moving to our second statement, does cesium have the same number of electrons in its highest occupied level as the others? So let's think about the general electron configuration of the alkali metals. The configuration is some noble gas, that's what I've called Mg, with NS1. So lithium is helium, 2s1, sodium is neon, 3s1 for example. And of course, they're all in the same group, and so they're all going to have the same outer shell electron configuration of S1, and therefore the second statement is indeed correct. And finally, is cesium the most easily oxidized of all these elements? So what is oxidation? That's the loss of electrons. And can we think of any trends and reactions where these elements lose electrons? Of course, the reaction that we've just seen with water is an oxidation of the metal to the metal hydroxide. So what's happening to the oxidation states? We're going from metal 0 to metal plus 1. Therefore, this is an oxidation. And of course, we've already said that the reactivity of the metal increases as we go down the group. And therefore, we can conclude that cesium must be the most easily oxidized, explaining this pattern of reactivity. So we've concluded that all three of these statements are correct, and this corresponds to an answer of H.